perhaps it's a good time we can talk about that and come back to an issue here. We have the second issue is sustainability, reducing banking technology's carbon footprint, the quest for more energy efficient and environmentally friendly data centres and other IT hardware. Basically, this is our green question. So in order to get a few views out on our green question, what is the relationship between retail, IT, and green, for want of a better word? And can those things move together? And can we improve the environment, or can banks improve the environment in the way they use technology? Big question. Anybody for an easy answer?
I think we in Clydesdale, in Yorkshire, we just built a second data centre in Glasgow, and using the latest air conditioning, using the latest heat and power, and putting in place more effective insulation. The carbon footprint between the new and the old data centre is something like 50% more efficient in terms of the green agenda. So, when you get the opportunity to take advantage of some of the latest techniques and tools, then you can make a significant difference.
Our solutions are much primitive than UK experience, actually. I mean, our bank green, and the symbol is clover, and we are supporting WWF, I don't know, for the last 20 years. I mean, it's some steps we have taken, but frankly, I mean, we start with the more easier thing. I mean, carbon issue, not a big issue, unfortunately, still in Turkey, but we start with the paper thing. I mean, and we just launched environment-friendly credit card. I mean, you can question it's a plastic card. How can I, it's environmental friendly. But anyways, if you use that card, for example, those bonuses paid by the bank goes to directly, those funds. I mean, WWF.
Banks quite obviously can play a huge role in, encouraging green practices and contribute, to the whole green thing socially. I mean, I know bankers have always liked, talking about green stuff, but this is other kind of green here. And, I think, clearly, very simply put, from a consumer point of view, let's say if you give me a choice, or if you give another person a choice today of, like-for-like product, and one bank, which is green, with green practices and green sort of ethics, offering that product vis-a-vis another bank which is not socially responsible, it's a no-brainer that I'll do business with a bank which is green. And I think in that sense, very simply put, it has an upside to the brand today. And I think Co-op Bank in UK is a classic case of being the most ethical bank in UK, and doing very well on that particular business, on that positioning. And likewise, if the bank is not associated with green practices, today one can do a lot of damage to that brand. And I think in a variety of ways, banks globally have contributed, or have started contributing at least, in two broad ways as I see it. One is offering green products, and like he said, e-statements, the credit card with the WWF, and I know Rabobank also offers similar product in the US. There are banks which are today offering better, let's say 50 basis points lesser on auto loan for a alternate fuel car, and so on and so forth. And there are many things that can be done there. On the other side is there are banks which are broadly speaking beginning to encourage projects which are green projects. So be it the largest turbine which is being built in UK at the moment, which is being funded by a bank at a discounted rate.
I think you're right to a point. In the UK, I just get the impression that banks are fighting amongst themselves to try to be more environmentally friendly than the rest, greener than the rest. The Banker and FT Global Events, we're running a climate change and banking conference on July the 1st in London. I'm chairing it. I've put it together. It's a half-day event, so there's an advertisement there for you to attend. But we've got Hilary Benn, the Environment Secretary, speaking. We've got somebody from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. We've got the World Bank. We've got the Head of Sustainability from HSBC, head of sustainability from BT, another technology firm, and from Linklaters as well on the legal side. And it's all very laudable what they're doing, but and there's more to be done. But I being a journalist, I'm a bit sceptical. I look at what HSBC say, and they will say something like, "We were the first bank in the UK to become carbon neutral." Yeah. But then I see other banks claiming this, but there's a slight difference in what they're claiming. It might be the first bank to be carbon neutral in its UK operations. It's difficult to know exactly who is better than another, but the key thing is they're all trying. I think the UK is pretty far advanced compared with other countries in this.
But one issue, sorry for that, Michael. I mean, it's a very touchy subject. I mean, for example, for this great corporate banking operations, guarantee in local market we do some operations, but it should be in the blood of the bank. We should be green, but it's very difficult because, for example, for HSBC, they might be claiming that we are the greenest. If the customer of HSBC comes to any branch in Turkey, for example, the HSBC branch, I want to get a loan to buy a four-wheel drive, very unfriendly with the environment vehicle.
Would they not give it? Yeah, they will give it.
You would do that. Or a corporate client comes to build a nuclear power plant, for example. Are you going to lend it? Or you say no? I mean, at the most of the time, we do lend them. So that's a tricky subject for banks actually to go green.
On green, we tackle many things, but as Fuad was pointing out, it's as a retail bank you have many customers, and it's also green in the mindset of the customer. And you mentioned what Michael said on carbon neutral and carbon activity. Again, for lots of customers this means less, and it is what you have as an image from a green bank. But what you do towards your customer in the domain of green can change. Even what you say, it's non-paperless statement is gigantic. If you just take a traditional current account and you calculate the amount of paper that is related to it, and you take everything out that is not legally required, you save a humongous amount of trees, put it like that. And in positioning like that to customers, it helps. The thing is, if you want to change your legacy system to make sure that you're not going to print out everything automatically what you've done before because it's better for the customer, this is where technology intervenes. I think where it also comes in, what a retail bank does in the green environment, it was mentioned the example of when you go in for carbon neutral loans or specific loans, specific cars. What we try to do in our operations, every European country right now has giving specific advantages on loans when you buy specific cars or you build houses with using specific how you call it? Specific things to build a house. Materials to build a house. Thank you very much. Okay. Based on that, we try to facilitate the process because, again, for a customer, it is not really known what it's about. So when he comes up for a loan, as a bank, we try to facilitate that he can come up with the necessary discounts from the state and from other organizations around the green product. And this is also we see as helpful. And then in the education process, and this is where technology comes in, we discussed about the carbon footprint. We've launched a footprint calculator related to our investments. And as a customer on the net, you can calculate with using the car that you have, if you have a swimming pool, where do you live, what's your carbon footprint is, and how much damage are you doing to the environment. And then related to that, we say, well, if you want to compensate now to the damage or the impact that you have on the environment, this is where you should invest in green funds, in sociable funds, in responsibility funds. And this is another way of tackling green towards the customer. So I think it can be done on different aspects. But again, it comes to segmentation your customer, because not every customer is like completely entangled with green. You have customers that are much more green affectionate than other customers that, well, do it from a distance.
Yeah.